The UFC finally has a new champion for the lightweight division, and his name is Islam Makhachev. Khabib Nurmagomedov couldn't have been any happier for the win, and he had just one big request for the UFC going into the fight. What was it, and what was going on with the post-fight bravado that took place afterward? We'll be sure to let you in on all the details as the video progresses, so be sure to stick around till the end. What was Khabib's one demand? Following Islam Makhachev's victory at UFC 280, where he laid claim to the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World, which took place just yesterday at the time of writing, there was one request from Khabib Nurmagomedov, though some would go so far as to call it a demand. He spoke to ESPN.com following the big pay-per-view headlining bout in Abu Dhabi and explained to them what he wanted from the UFC. He said to Dana that he had to be the one to present the winner with the belt because he never lost it, and felt that he was still the champion to this day until Islam took over for him. Khabib Nurmagomedov famously retired as champion. There was a lengthy period where they were trying to renegotiate terms to get him back, but after 5 months of inactivity for the title, it was officially vacated. Charles Oliveira was, of course, the next man to hold the belt, but the lineage has only continued to be thrown for a loop as he too ended up being stripped of it after he failed to make weight against Justin Gaethje at UFC 274. That happened in May of this year, and now, have we finally gotten around to crowning a new champion? Islam Makhachev ended up facing off with Oliveira and about to see who the official new champ going forward will be. So even though he was stripped of the gold, he did get a shot of regaining the title, but it seems like Khabib didn't consider that reign too legit. But as he's friends and a longtime teammate of Islam, he's happy to accept him as the new champion. According to Khabib, when he made the request to be the one to present the new champ with the belt, they told him no problem, take it, for it is indeed his. The Dagestani belt, as they put it. Khabib says he took it and put it on, wearing it as the rightful champ yet again, apparently. It should come as no shock then that when the fight ended and the smoke cleared, Khabib Nurmagomedov was nearly the very person to flood into that octagon. The fight just so happened to be taking place in the same arena where Khabib had his last fight, which was a submission victory over Justin Gaethje that took place at UFC 254 in October of 2020 and increased Khabib's undefeated record to an impressive 19-0. Why is Khabib so excited about Islam Makhachev's win? Having retired as an undefeated champion, Khabib is overjoyed to see that the lineage will effectively continue, as now the belt is being held by a protege of his, and he absolutely could not contain his pride and excitement for his friend after Makhachev took the win with an arm triangle submission. Nurmagomedov was happy to declare his teammate as more than just the #1 lightweight in the division, but the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the game today. Obviously, he's a bit biased. Khabib went so far as to call for the consensus #1 in the world, featherweight killer Alexander Volkanovski, to the octagon for an unexpected face-off. You'd think for sure with all that post-fighting posturing that he was confident in his friend every step of the way, but the truth is that he was quite nervous about seeing Islam take on Oliveira, as he is, after all, the all-time record holder for submission wins. He said that this was because he'd been watching all of his life for the last 2 decades the way Islam has worked so hard throughout his amateur career and into his pro career, and he was almost at the apex. But he said, quote, "This is a very hard sport. Anytime, anything can happen. Look at Kamaru Usman. He was fighting all 5 rounds and boom, one time finished, he lost his belt. Same thing." End quote. He expressed that absolutely anything could happen in MMA, and regardless of who the better fighter is, a fluke could always cost you a victory, especially when you're in there with someone as high level as Charles. And so he admitted to being very nervous because he loves Islam. The two of them grew up together, and according to Khabib, he was his father's favorite student. Sadly, the man that he spoke of, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, was unable to watch his favorite student claim the title on Saturday. He lost a struggle against COVID-19 amidst the pandemic. He was placed into a medical coma in May of 2020 and lost his life 2 months later in July at a clinic in Moscow. He was 57 years old and is remembered fondly and represented strongly by his son and students in the octagon. For Khabib, the memory of his dad no doubt was a big part of why it was so special and thrilling to watch his friend and protege take home the gold. What's this about a super fight? Why did they call out Volkanovski? From here, it's on to the next summit to climb as Team Makhachev seeks to obtain another title. They made their intentions known that they're going after featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski Volkanovski next. He has held the title for quite a while, becoming champion in 2019 and successfully defending it on 4 occasions. As we've seen with the lightweight title, it's hard to even stay healthy and within confines of the rules for that long, or at least a lot of fighters sure make it seem that way. So it's pretty wild to think that Volkanov's reign has gone on without interruption for over 1,000 days now. A theoretical super fight between the featherweight and lightweight champions could change everything though. Conor McGregor gave up his featherweight title after winning the lightweight title, and something similar could happen here. Something has to give for sure, and we'll just have to wait and see what the ramifications of this challenge are going forward. Khabib said of this that he considered it very big and historical for his team and all of MMA. He said that they need locations for the fight. He mentioned briefly that they were anticipating from a match with Volkanovski, noting his powerful clinch game where he expects Islam to have to endure a barrage of knees and that it'll take his whole energy to take him down. But he expects his friend to get it done and choke him out once they get there. He finished by stating, quote, "Volkanovski, we respect you, but we want to take your place, brother," end quote. For Islam Makhachev, of course, he's always eager to get this accomplishment done. In his words, now that he's finally become a champion, he now has a new target, saying that he has to be the #1 pound-for-pound champ, and that's why he wishes to go to Australia and beat the featherweight champ. It might seem crazy that the Makhachev camp would be willing to go to the Aussie champion's home turf to face him for a super fight, but they made clear that they're always willing to traverse into enemy territory. Islam said that they have a big team and home field advantage won't mean a thing, even calling it good for them. He said Australia is a good country for them to travel to and have a training camp there. Should the super fight take place there, it'd be UFC 284 on February 12, 2023, which is set to take place in Perth, Australia. He even said that before the fight with Charles was officially announced, Khabib had spoken with him about the possibility of being matched up with Oliveira in Brazil, and he said that if that was the offer made, they'd take that too. Islam even said that he could show us messages of Khabib telling Dana White, "Let's go to Brazil." It's fair to Makhachev has a long way to go at the moment if he wants to truly match all the accomplishments of his AKA contemporaries, given that he has the unbeaten Khabib and multi-divisional champ Daniel Cormier to live up to. Those are big shoes to fill, but obviously Islam is trying to get there, having claimed one belt and seemingly looking for another. He says that he certainly isn't thinking about retirement right now, and that he's focused on being #1 in the world pound for pound. But he suggested that after defending his belt in his weight class, he might even move up to 170 and fight for a title there. It's clear that Islam has lofty goals, and it should be exciting to see him shoot for them, whether it works out or not. And that is all the time we have for today's video. Do you think Islam Makhachev has what it takes to become a double champion and be the one to finally take out Alexander Volkanovski? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, thanks for watching.